Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome to A Book About Death 2019.
Today is a tribute to the artist Ray Johnson, who did much of his work on Long Island, and he originated the concept of a book about death. He used the mail service as part of his performance artwork.
Yes.
And so that's why we're using postcards to commemorate his life and death.
Yes. Nadine and I were very fortunate to attend Ray Johnson's roof event and Coco Gordon's cutting party. Thank you. Today we'll be doing a performance out of doors, and we'll be filming it with a drone, so you'll be able to see it later on. Thank you kindly, and have a pleasant today.
Hello, all my international artists across the world. This live stream is for you guys. Since you can't be here with us, I wish you could all be here with us, but this live stream is for you. This is going to be a very exciting evening. We have really different performance artists coming. There's going to be Betty Esperanza is coming from Canada. We have Mark Block. We have Steve Dalachinsky. You already met Louise and Nadine. We have a lot of very exciting things going on. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I know you will. I love you. Oh yes, big news. You guys already, thank you. You already know that this show is going to Les Musées des Postales in Paris, but I just found out today that this show, the 10th anniversary show, is going to be in the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. This is just the abundance of the universe smiling upon this project.
Oh, hey!
You like to share your works?
Yes. Mail art is not fine art, it's the artist who is fine. H.R. Fricker. You don't make a living out of mail art, you make an art out of living. Crackerjack Kid. That's my uniform.
So you got a bunch of real deep one-liners?
This is my, these are my jungle fatigues. Wore these in 1970, 71 in the Delta. And when I got home back in 1981, that was later after the war, of course, I took my jungle fatigues and I ground them up into paper pulp with a laboratory beater and made stationery out of it and sent that to Ray Johnson. And that's how I earned my friendship with Ray. And 3 years later, he invited me to his retrospective exhibition at Nassau County Museum of Art and in Roslyn Harbor. That was I think his second retrospective. So anyway, we're going to perform in this today. I haven't put this on actually since at least 35, 40 years. So.
Does it fit?
Yeah. I think it does. I don't think I'll be embarrassed. There's nothing to be embarrassed about with jungle fatigues. All right. Bye.
Hi, people. I am Rosemary Slogat. I'm a Long Island artist, so I could make it. I'm here at the Islip Art Museum for A Book About Death, The Last Waltz. Excited to be participating.
So why did you come today?
My sister-in-law talked me into it. She had participated in the Book About Death that was before this one. And we partner a lot. We were in the last show here, which was collaboration. We worked together, and so before I knew much about it, I committed, which is always a good idea. Commit before you know so much about something. And then I found myself needing to come up with something that would be meaningful to me and to people around the world.
Yes. How do you participate?
Well,
it's the book about death, right?
Right.
So how does one participate?
You mean how did I, or what did I make?
You said your friend participated last year in the 9th edition of the Book of Death?
No, my sister-in-law did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how does one get to participate? What do you do when you participate?
I make a postcard.
Okay, so
Yes.
so talk to me about
Okay.
that.
Well, I first had to decide what to do for a postcard, and I'm a teacher. This is well past 20 years for this, for elementary school children. And a lot of my work is about children. So I decided to make my book about death about the death of children. And Sandy Hook really struck me quite hard. My children and I made some artwork which we sent to the children there. And so I decided to look it up. I know that the Washington Post had just done an article on the most recent statistics, government statistics, and close to 300,000 children have died of gun violence since 1999, which is when they started doing these statistics. No, in the United States.
Did you say that number again?
Almost 300,000 children
300,000?
since 1999.
It feels like a worldwide number.
It's not. It's not. I assure you. And I, checked it 2 or 3 times in typing because I too was quite taken aback by that. And that's something I felt was worth putting out to the public.
Great. So thank you so much.
You are so welcome. It's a pleasure to, as I said, participate.
My name is Belinda Rubino, and I submitted a piece of art because I learned about this installation through the Islip Arts Council and the Islip Art Museum. I didn't know about a book about death or its 10th anniversary until I became an advisory member from the West Islip Chamber of Commerce, and it's been very exciting, and I'm passionate about death, actually. My dad died when I was 13. I saved a piece of poetry from high school and I combined it with a photograph of my uncle's cemetery up in Poughkeepsie and just made it a piece of art, and I'm very happy to have been able to participate in this exciting show.
So what is it about death that fascinates you?
I'm not really sure because I don't believe it's the end of life. I believe there's a hereafter, so I'm in line with thinking your soul still goes on. I think death is the release of all of the hardship from being human and living on earth and the suffering that we have. And I just find it interesting because nobody can really define it. Nobody really knows what happens after we die. And I've lived through a lot of death in the past 5 years.
So does it get easier? Do you develop any mechanisms? Is participating in something like this part of dealing with all that death that you've had in the last 5 years?
I think it celebrates the fact that families have died. My mom passed 3 years ago from advanced Alzheimer's, and seeing her suffer was very painful, and it made you understand that death was a more peaceful solution. And having lost my dad when I was 13, I think that sort of bridges back the past and makes it a celebration of his life and the fact that we were too young to understand death at 13. So I believe that it made a connection. Being part of this exhibit made it a celebration more than sad.
So final question for you is, have you had, I'm assuming that everyone in this exhibition in some way has a fascination or celebration, or you all have death in common at today's exhibition. Have you had any kind of conversations with the other creatives about what today means and the subject matter?
It's early in the show, so I have not walked around and spoken to the artists. There are some artists who are part of the Islip Arts Council, and they have submitted art. So I'm not discussing death with them, but they're all vibrant, creative, talented people, and I'm honored to be part of the Islip Arts Council.
Okay, My name's Holly Gordon, and I live in the town of Islip. I'm an artist and a curator, and I'm also on the advisory board for the Islip Art Museum. And I am here today because it's the kind of thing that I wouldn't miss for the world. I saw the opportunity a number of years ago. I had submitted to a book about death that was at Long Island Art Museum. Years ago, when I was in China, I was very taken by the Xi'an warriors, by all those ceramic soldiers that were entombed under the ground. And so I was speechless when I saw it, if you could believe that I could ever be speechless. But then I saw all of these people in the parks who were doing yoga and dancing. They were doing tango in the street. And when the opportunity to submit to a book about death came along, I thought, I have it. I'm going to superimpose, I will juxtapose my Xi'an warriors with the dancers, and voila, there I made my book about life, a book about death. I never thought that a book about death could be so much fun. And it binds us all together. We're all part of the lowest common denominator, but this is a pretty high point, and I think it's absolutely spooktacular that this exhibit is going to the Smithsonian.
So, now, when you think about that, you obviously are comfortable with it. What is your thought about that in general?
It's like, I practice avoidance. I am so busy looking forward and being involved in projects, and a book that's going to be published next year, and then the one that's following that, and curating exhibits and creating art. Like, I don't have time to think about death. It's like too busy spending time thinking about living. That's all. So,
what you've seen, obviously you have your work, but then there's the collection in general. What's your opinion about what's in the room?
The collection in general is nothing short of incredible. I've already mentioned spooktacular. We're all creatives, and we have all created something inspired by this concept. They're also different, and they're also vibrant and vital and wonderful. It's pretty extraordinary.
And what about, just give us a final word about the Islip Arts Council, the Islip Arts Museum, the part of it. How do you feel keeping the arts alive within the community?
The Islip Art Council and Islip Art Museum, Brookwood Hall, it's a beacon of art on the South Shore of Long Island. If people stop and think, between the Nassau County Museum of Art in Roslyn, which I think might be on the North Shore, but I'm directionally challenged. So north, south, we don't have to be picky. But between the Nassau Museum of Fine Art in Roslyn and the parish, and then you've got the Hector on the North Shore of Long Island, there is no substantial, legitimate art museum on Long Island except for us. So we are important, we are essential, we are a main artery, A-R-T-E-R-Y. Art is in the center of earth, E-A-R-T-H. It is in everybody's heart, H-E-A-R-T. It's important, and it's important that we're here, and it's important that you're here telling our story.
My name is Patty El-Hayek, and I am here because I'm a part of this amazing exhibit. As soon as I heard about it, I wanted to be a part of it. because, first of all, I love Dada, so I love the art movement that it's based on, and I just love the whole idea of male art and collaboration and having everyone come together to share what they make.
So what was your contribution?
My contribution is a piece I call You're All Made of Stars, and it's a pencil with watercolor. It's a skeleton with some composites. It has gears in it. It has a feather in the shoulder that are sort of melded together. And then in the center there are two hands, which were a real technique challenge for me because I'm not good at hands, but I am now. And behind the hands is a light, because I felt that the star gives off light, and that's what we are, right? So we're all part of the cosmic dust.
Now, this is a topic about death. What is your opinion? How do you feel about death? Is it something that you avoid? Is it something that you embrace?
I have a love-hate relationship with death. I love the images of death. I love the icons of it, but I'm afraid of it. And I think the reason I'm afraid of it is because I'm afraid of the thought of losing consciousness, the ability to be conscious, even though I don't know if that's still there. And I'm also afraid of not being in control, which I can absolutely say. I am afraid of not being in control. So while I fear it, it still holds a kind of mystery, you know, that always draws me back.
And your final question is about what is your opinion of the collection and all that you've seen?
The collection is incredible. I haven't seen it all yet, and I still have to collect the rest of my cards. But the collection is amazing, and I am most impressed by everyone who did their 500 cards by hand, because the discipline and the time that it takes to do that is amazing. And I love that there are so many different varieties of interpretations of the theme. And the best part is getting to take them all home and then sit there and look at them as much as I want.
I'm Linda Weingarten. This is my piece. And there's a poem on the back. I made it back in 2014 on canvas, which is showing outside my office. I digitally put it into Photoshop, just manipulated just a tiny bit, ran it over my car 4 times, then spray painted it with 2 different types of textures, then scratched it so that you could feel. This particular piece I made for my brother when my mom had passed, and then the poem is about my mom. So the whole exhibit is a little bittersweet, I suppose, because it's a sore subject, but yet I love giving it out there, putting it out there. The textured paint is because you have to touch. So I can hear, have always had the ability to connect to, I guess, another realm, the other side, however you want to call it, and so I can hear you, I can smell you, I can see you. But the one thing that's always absent is touching. I can never physically touch you again. So my mom actually died in my hands, and so that's why this was so important to get. And I handmade every single piece, 500 of them, every single piece. But and none are the same. So, but if you come through, you come down and you see me while the exhibit's up, I will sign one for you. I have my pen.
Okay.
So I don't know.
So tell me about what you've seen. Obviously, I love that piece. It's striking. What is your opinion about the other pieces that you've seen?
So as an artist, and I went to school for art, and I helped manage a museum, and there's lots of hands that put this together, and it is. It's mixed feelings because there are beautiful, beautiful pieces that I can't even understand, like, why they're in the show, you know what I mean? And then there's pieces that are like so morbid and you can like, that's like, okay, like kind of like this, I know why it's in the show. But the beautiful pieces balance out those morbid pieces. So I think that the whole process to get it together is awesome, and that everybody's view is completely different. Like, it could be a beautiful thing. Are you scared or you're not scared? Or you just are.
That explains the great difference in how the artist created. Some of it is beautiful, some of it is morbid, and I guess is your perception about that.
Right. Yeah, everybody's perception is completely different. I mean, I am not afraid because I understand. sometimes, you know, you fear what you don't know, right? And because I have some connection, I don't fear.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Not that I'm going anywhere. Love, much love, much love.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the 10th anniversary edition of A Book About Death, The Last Waltz. In the 1960s, when conceptual artist Ray Johnson mailed pages from his unbound book about death to his correspondence school students, some of whom are here tonight, he could never have imagined the scope of its influence. 50 years and thousands of international artists later, the father of mail art continues to inspire and connect people across the globe. This exhibition honors Ray and the vast and far-reaching creative legacy that he has created. We also celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the genesis of the A Book About Death project, begun by Matthew Rose with the first show in Soho in 2009. Since that time, 28 subsequent shows have been mounted across 5 continents. I am fortunate enough to have been in every one, and I curated 3 of them right here on Long Island. Today's exhibition was a year in the making. Now we bring you the story of the 10-year-long journey of over 6,000 international artists as they have explored together the meaning of death on personal, metaphorical, cultural, and philosophical levels through painting, photography, and collage. I invite you to walk the galleries of the museum and see the incredible evolution of this project directly from Ray's hands to Matthew's first solo exhibition in Soho, across the world, and back to New York once again. I must take a moment to extend some thanks here. Some to the amazing staff of the Islip Art Museum for their hard work and dedication to making the show complete perfection, and it was a massive undertaking. Linda Moran, Linda Weingarten, Christine O'Malley, Sean Fitzhugh, Sarah Kalish, Katrina Kwan, James Casey. They worked their butts off. I thank Joan Harrison and Michael Ash for their love, support, consultations, photographs, and especially for the copy of Ray Johnson's book about death that appears in Gallery 1. I thank Mark Bloch for so graciously sharing with us Ray Johnson's correspondence art from his personal collection. And I thank artists, ABAD artists, Eddie Correa and Patty Cranenberg for the expert installation they did on that work in Gallery 3. I thank our talented poster artists for their generosity in donating all proceeds from the sale of their posters to the museum. Terrence Fogarty, Joan Harrison, Louise Millman, Matthew Rose, Marlene Weissman. My thanks to ABAD artists Michael Chan and Terrence Fogarty, and to Kevin Connolly and the Flying Belgian Brewery for their donations to this reception tonight. And finally, I'm so bad. I wish to thank all the performance artists that you're about to enjoy and the 2001 international artists that have lent their talents to this show. I love you all. Now please join me in welcoming Chuck Welch. Also known as the Crackerjack Kid, a prominent nail artist, curator, and writer, and was an actual member of Ray Johnson's New York Correspondence School.
soldiers. Name Ray Johnson. Died in Vietnam. Between 1963 and 1965. Ray Johnson knew they were on the wall in D.C. I told him in a correspondence. I had no answer. I called him in 1982, and we talked about it. He said, "I'm sorry." Ray Johnson. Dear Ray Johnson in Vietnam, I was at a party last night and a boy spoke to me and said his name was Ray Johnson. And I tried to telephone Ted Carey to say, there was another Ray Johnson and he should take both of you to Saigon, Vietnam for dinner. And maybe we should organize the Ray Johnson in Vietnam Club. The Ray Johnson I spoke to was going to South Vietnam for the summer. So maybe in the fall we can have a Ray Johnson in Vietnam event. I like Ray Johnson in Vietnam Club a lot. I told Ray Johnson, you were a good friend of Liza Minnelli, and Jill Johnston was there talking in the garden with Kate Millett, and it was hot, and I told Ray Johnson he was the most interesting person there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chuck. I have the very great pleasure of presenting a woman who is a Queens poet and performs with the New York City Poetry Brothel. She'll be reading some of her newest work tonight, my daughter, Antonia Palazzo.
Wrote 2 new ones, so I got to read them off the phone first. This one is called First Blessings. I was born a screaming star, and my mother knew it. Named me with a growl and the courage of a woman raised by both a helium gas and a hydrogen bomb, but mostly by a Milky Way man with cosmic hands. His molecular clouds dusted old world skyscrapers and meticulously brightened childhood scrapes, as if he had indeed fathered the idea of both. He held the house together during explosions and well earned his titles of great and grand. The echo of his strong universe already in me, the echo of their failed mission in my gut, the echo of my mom's bravery already in my flesh. So by the time I drew my first revving breath, I knew I had arrived from an interstellar line, aware of how a star both shines and collapses, already dressed in iron and supernova light. This one is Hummingbird Heart. Most days I am not a car crash, but some nights I am. Sometimes the white knuckle clinging to the morning on the bedspread is all I've got left. Sometimes I have to remind me of who I've been, that I lost to a pre-dawn flat line, clouded starless sky, is a hummingbird heart that beats too fast and won't stop for anything less than the past. Going backwards like no one else can, until it's all that I do, all that I do, all that I do. To remind myself of who I've been before the bounce a side view mirror going 60 miles per hour can make, before the crunch of grass and cricket silence. Sometimes my hands are all I have and they too shake their way from one flower to the next. And I grab the rose by the thorn because it's better than never running fingertips across the petals of a bouquet from a lover I haven't yet met. Until it's all that I do, all that I do, all I do. And the blood it draws reminds me of my bruises, the way my voice can become crunched metal skidding, and the way my face can feel like excess fabric that's in the way of something too urgent and too vital that you have to rip off. So I try to get under it, try to expose whatever is beneath that I was brought here to be, until it's all that I do, all I do, all I do. Most days I'm not the car crash, but every day I'm the morning after. The hospital, remaking myself into a still here, into a question mark I can't read, into answers that make all of this make meanings. And I don't know what comes next, except I'm not afraid anymore. And when I die, it will be a homecoming to a little yellow room with sunlight on the bed. And I will be there singing, knowing I will see you soon, until the light finally takes me too.
Thank you. One more about my family. This one's about my brother. Hey! It's called Sea Bones. My family was made for drowning, for taking the deep into us and carrying heavy water. We are smooth sea bones, hollowed out seashells, breathing out ocean sprays. Better this than to break on the rocks. One of my earliest memories is sitting on the red plaid wool blanket under an umbrella with my mama itching against the rough fabric and to get away from her hands, greasy with sunscreen. And then we were both up running. My brother was 3 years old, taken in by the sudden undertow right out of my daddy's strong hands. But we speak ocean. We snatched him back. My mama named him Dylan, even though that's not Italian. It's from a fairy country. It means son of the wave, born of the sea. Maybe my brother was just trying to crawl home. He spat out salt water. He was singing the old songs we knew the words to, but not the melody. Looking back, he said he felt as weightless as summer salts, until our voices scared off the sea and Daddy uncurled him from the tide. I was named for my daddy, for the patron saint of lost souls, sailors, and shipwrecks. There is a difference between knowing a language and sharing the blood of it. In the one you make treaties, in the other you belong. I still go out every year, a pilgrimage to the edge of the island where I was born, and sing the songs my brother taught me. Rebirth runs in the family. Halcyon calm to this day, I think he left his panic the way a sailor leaves an anchor. He doesn't go to the shore anymore. I wonder if he worries if there will be a time without us, unsure whose voice is stronger. Thank you. I'll do one more, and it's an opinion. I have one about the Loch Ness Monster and coming to know yourself, and the other one about Ophelia from Hamlet. What do you want to hear? All right, Ophelia it is. It's called Opheliac. Doubt thou the stars are fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt. And that's from Hamlet. Pardon my language. Stage directions are bullshit. That is what they had to do for anyone to understand me. Dress me up in white, contrary to your mourning shades. Dress me up in white. I am pure and innocent and bridal and empty. Drained clean of everything that ever took root inside of me, flushed not with the rush of youth, but flushed like a cleanse after all that blood flooded. A monsoon came through. They named it for you. White, that was the color England knew as madness. Because how else would they have ever known except maybe to stop and listen to me speak? Before I rue for you and rue for me. I lay me down to sleep, I prayed for you, my heart to keep, and as I drowsed deep and down, I left for you a flower crown, rosemaries and pansies, fennel and columbine, daisies and violets withered on the vine. Forget me not, forget me not. I swelled and bloated ever wider, my stare as vacant as my color. For you I would have walked on water, but breathing in the brook entire was easier than breathing in your love.
Up next, we have Betty Esperanza all the way from Canada to bring us a poem by the legendary Leonard Cohen.
Hi everyone, it's really wonderful to be here. It took us a long time to get here, all the way from Canada. It's pretty far from Manhattan. It's a beautiful ride. Leonard would have liked it. I see some familiar faces, which is really nice. For all of those that started out in 2009, was my first book about death event. It was the first time I considered myself an artist. And then every time that there was a call out, it was an inspiration to be positive, to have an outlook on life that could inspire others. It started out with the fact that I had just gotten over my third cancer, and I was facing death each time, and I didn't know how to deal with it emotionally. And so something cathartic happened. I had a photo shoot with one of my lovers. I love saying that. Which was never supposed to be public. And we put out one of the photos, and it went viral. And a lot of people thought that he was the one who had cancer because he had no hair. You don't always lose your hair when you have cancer. And I had a great set of hair. So I survived cancer, now my 5th time in the last 10 years. And so, yes, thank you. Just to say that life is here for us to live. And I think we should live it in the moment and be as kind as possible to others. So I want to just say a little story about Leonard Cohen, how he inspired me to create a poetry festival, an open mic once a year in Montreal. It's going to actually happen next weekend. And what happened was I encountered him on the street and we had a lovely conversation. It was a beautiful summer, balmy night. It was just the two of us. We talked about the weather in a very erotic way. It was kind of weird, but it was quite poetic. And the thing is that he had remembered me from a couple of years prior where I met him, where he gave a concert in Montreal at the Place des Arts. And I went backstage and I introduced myself and I said, "Hi, I'm Betty Esperanza." And he said, "Esperanza." I realized that my name was hopeful. And when he had met me on the street, the first thing he said to me was, "Esperanza." I have to say that he could just say that and that was it. I don't remember really our conversation. I was like in awe of him. He was a very sexy man, as you know. So that's pretty much how I met him and how I continue to give open mics, to give a platform to other up-and-coming poets, artists, even musicians, to showcase their talent. And it's something that I'm very proud of being here because this is very important that we have a place for us to have a voice. And for those who want to listen, thank you very much. And because it's the waltz, the theme, I thought I would just read a little excerpt of Leonard Cohen's The Waltz. I won't sing it, he had a better voice than mine. Now in Vienna, there are 10 pretty women. There's a shoulder where death comes to cry. There's a lobby with 900 windows. There's a tree when the doves go to die. There's a piece that was torn from the morning, and it hangs in the gallery of frost. I, take this waltz, take this waltz, take this waltz, with the clamp on its jaws, oh I want you, oh I want you, oh I want you, I want you. On a chair with a dead magazine, in the cave at the tip of the lily, in some hallway where love's never been, on a bed where the moon has been sweating, in a cry filled with footsteps and sand. I, take this waltz, take this waltz, take its broken waist in your hand. This waltz, this waltz, this waltz, with its very own breath of brandy and death, dragging its tail in the sea. There's a concert hall in Vienna where your mouth had 1,000 reviews. There's a bar where the boys have stopped talking. They've been sentenced to death by the blues. Ah, but who is it that climbs in your picture with a garland of freshly cut tears? I, take this waltz, take this waltz, take this waltz. It's been dying for years. There's an attic where children are playing, where I've got down to lie down with you soon, in a dream of Hungarian lanterns, in the midst of some sweat afternoon. And I'll see what you've chained to your sorrow, all your sheep and your lilies of snow. This waltz, this waltz, this waltz, with its own breath of brandy and death, dragging its tail in the sea. I'll dance with you in Vienna. I'll be wearing a river's disguise, the hyacinth wild on my shoulder, my mouth on the dew of your thighs. And I'll bury my soul in a scrapbook with the photographs here and the moss, and I'll yield to the flow of your beauty, my cheap violin and my cross. And you'll carry me down on your dancing to the pools that you lift on your wrist. Oh my love, take this waltz. take this wealth, it's yours, and that's all there is. Thank you very much.
Okay, so next up we have the famous, semi-famous, kind of famous, Steve Delachinsky, who is an award-winning New York City poet, and he will be performing with trumpet player Pasquale Cangione.
Pasquale.
Pasquale, where are you?
He's there. Oh, everybody give Pasquale a little run for the gas. Okay. I'm very happy Gwen did this, the first band book was really a very important thing, and I'm glad she did it again. You see, when I denied being famous, half the room left. Did you see how that went? So, I didn't really know Ray Johnson. I just knew some of his work. And after Johnson died, this woman, Arlene Schlosser, ran a place called A's, did a big commemorative event for Ray Johnson and for Buster Cleveland. Buster Cleveland knew Johnson. He was a very important male artist, Buster, and we were very close friends. So I did it. They had a big show the minute Johnson died at the Fabian Gallery, and this is a piece I wrote for him with an epigraph by Johnson that says, I do, do. Lucky struck, she smiles, then they kiss on the $10 bill. Oh, peso. Empty eyes illuminated by night and the ever-present cracks of failed nostalgia. Take the F-A-I out of failure, you have lure. Take the F-U-R-E out of, and you have of whatever. It's what we give to others, what we take from others. I'm cracking up. No matter, in the end, we're all water anyway. All fucked up. All ornament and destruction. All self, down in one superior gulp. Trains that stop and go and stop, and parties that stop and go and stop, and parties. He liked trains and parties, and costumes and bridges, and piers and fears, all failure. All spoken out, wordless, toasted little ding-dongs. Thank you, dear plaintiff, my extraordinary little hunter, my scream, my burning fame, vain. My burning, my teensy-weensy spot of fuzz, my name thrown away way before my birth, before you and I were born, into the valley of locusts, this golden opportunity, this unyielding bareback rider, the doorway, thin knotted air. Come on, we're all just the teeth of trees anyway. Next time, take off your clothes, put those galoshes back on. Take O-S, ashes, take O-S, ashes, take ashes away, you have gal. Take L-E-S away, you have gosh. They took them away, the G-L-O. Take away the G-L-O, the glow. Take it away, you have the end. The end. There are 20 in a pack until you open it. Take them out in twos. Take them out in twos and all at once. All it's just smoke. We're all that. We're all just smoke. We're all jumping in. All looking for our balls in the end. In the end, the young king cries blood. The young king lies precious droplets of blood. Mouths, portraits, landscapes, still lifes, ice triggers, guns, or other weapons. In the young king, all we find is blood, always blood, that drops onto his word-coming tongue to form cubes of sanity, shoes that sprout from his lips and dribble down his chin. of spots of skin. We're all just skin, little specks of skin. Windows to be looked into. Luck-struck little ding-dongs. Just luck-struck little ding-dongs. A termite land, a termite lands on my finger. The car is half full. It's been raining all day. I try to shake it off. No good. I tell her I'm not wood. No good. No good. I blow as hard as I can. I blow. I blow. I blow. I blow. I blow as hard as I can. I blow as hard as I can. I blow. I blow. I blow. I blow as hard as I can. Turn. Lands on, hitting the doors, it's been raining all day. I'm trying to say, no good, I blow as hard as I can. You go where you must. You always go where you must. In the end, you go where you must. You go where you must. You must. On the crumbs of other dynasties, paper flames in the frame of the waves, many colors, flashing in the blue, I'm a survivor. I'm a host of language. I'm a survivor. I'm a host of language. Language seeds, social interaction. We are cohorts, the final conductors, a new language of complex codes, little inconsistencies. Heads, biology, we all don't end up in the same language. Language makes us human. We all don't end up. Language grows inside us. Stimulus, nice way to do things. Establish an order. Borrowing uncomplicated sentences. Schreiner. Sentences. Schreiner. Sentences. Schreiner. 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 Schreiner mit den Rampensau. Schreiner. Schreiner mit den Rampensau. Schreiner. Schweine mit den Rampensau. Schweine. Schweine mit den Rampensau. Schweine. Latka music, Kishka music, Replox music, Kanish music, pastrami music, Shimal Seri, gefilte fish music, minstrel music, dance music, medicine music, polka music, boogaloo music, holiday strand, stroll, twist, rope, jump rope, folk start, Gerona, dun 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 dun, dandelion, hand, giant ass, scat, 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 murder music, monster music, problem music, bayou music, spastic music, disaster music, dismal music, sweatland music, lambda music, optical music, expressive music, bubble up, physical, Schweine sauen da. In der Nacht, in der Rampenschweine. Und in Ischka, Tischka, Schischka, Taschka, Schumpenkau. I love you. Removal, I love you all. Hurt you all. Smack you, removal, I love you all. Hurt you all. Smack you, I love you, removal all. Hurt you all, I smack you now. Smack you, I love you all. Wonderful, I smack you a piece of bread, I smack you all. Lover, I love her, you take it, you don't take it, you don't touch it, you don't. It's some of yours, some of mine, some of theirs. Just bottle, it's bottle, it's bottle, it's bottle. Master will wax it and wax it, and elder, you fooled you, I fooled you again. Now slap her and kiss her and slap her and smack her and tough love it, stuff love it, stuff love it. Kiss her and smack her, it's ass legs, and you just fly away, Schweinehunden, Rabbit dog, justice, sapping, joining, funny, headache, absolute, Jenna. Headache and headline and headlong and heartbreaking, headstone and head gearing, head game and head starting, slap kissing, miss loving, tough loving, I fooled you again and 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 it's the intimate image, 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 it's the intimate image, it's a book about that, it's the intimate image, it's a book about that, it's the intimate image, it's a book about that, it's a work, it's an advertisement, it's a sing-along, it's a sing-along, it's a book about that, it's a book about that, it's a sing-along, it's a sing-along, it's a sing-along, it's a privatized, it's privatized, privatized, ishka-tishka, double Bodenheimer, double Bodenheimer, in a slapkiss food, it's slapkiss food, it's a book about that, it's a book about that, it's a book about that, it's a jumping in the Hall of Science, in the flying airport, in the overall service, in the Build-A-Bell, in the camera history, in the kiss slap, tough love, kiss slap, tunnel, collision, in the depot, placebo, Schweinehund, Ramsau, against the line, beauty supplies, snap, cola, vortex, home, who's going home, Persesta, teacher, novo, nuevo, vacuuma, azuma, Bastoni, and Cologica, Contralto, in the Coney Island, and the Folly, the Viola, Victrola, Chinchilla, Terratoni, Leggetti, Acciaccia, Qualcia, giving me a headache, it's a vendetta, it's giving me a headache in Pensacola, Schweinehunde, cook me, eat me, kiss me, kill me, beat me, dine me, lunge me, hang me, bang me, hang me, kiss me, kill me, bang me, blank me, haunt me, lunge me, dine me, beat me, kill me, cook me, It's a book about death, it's a book about death, it's a book about death, it's a book about death in me, and it's a book about death in me, and it's a book about death in me. Oscar.
Microphone doesn't work. can't hear it. You have to call me back because it's too low and I... Wow. Sandy Warhol calling from heaven. Will you please call me back? That's what he keeps saying. You know what? It's a collect ball. Now, the end. Okay.
Okay, our last performance artist of the evening is Mark Block, he's a multimedia artist, writer, and performer, joining us from Manhattan. He was also a member of Ray Johnson's Bureau Correspondence School, and in Gallery 3, there are 13 pieces of work from Ray to Mark, never seen before, that he was kind enough to share with us. Everybody, Mark Block.
Thank you. So I'm going to do a performance that has several parts to it, okay? It's going to have distinct parts, and it's really ironic. Let's give it up for Honey Millman, who is laying on the floor. So, it was ironic that we didn't have a sound system because the first part of my performance has to do with those people that are out there in the hall. Everyone in here might want to cover their ears for a moment. The first part of my performance has to do with the people that are outside in the hallway. They're driving me crazy. I don't understand it. I came all the way here from Manhattan and there's people eating brownies in the hallway. What is that all about? You can eat brownies later. Come here. Everybody come here. Oh my God. Here, let's see. We'll pep them up with a little drama. Oh my God! Oh! Oh my God! Wow! Oh! He's bleeding! They're completely unfazed. Wow, I'm getting lightheaded. I'm getting lightheaded.
You need a brownie.
I actually did have one. I grabbed one. But... Hey, all you people, come here! Look at this guy! Look what he's doing! Okay, it's not going to work. I guess you guys will have to settle for you. You know, I'm a ham. I want as many people as possible in here. I can always go get them. But I do have a plan B, and plan B is part of section A of the performance. So we're still in section A, but I have a plan B. I have an assistant. He's awesome. He's not only an awesome person, he has an awesome name. Please help me welcome Mr. Cooper Mars, who's here to help me. Thank you. Is that a great name, Cooper Mars? You're going to go far. So Cooper, what do you think we should do to get those people to come in here?
Can you scream any louder?
I'm screaming pretty loud. I don't know. Can you scream louder than me? You want to have a screaming contest?
Sure.
Why don't we just say like one phrase, like, come in here. How's that?
Okay.
So I'll start. Come in here!
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 Yes, they're coming! Come in here!
Come in here!
Come in here!
Come in here! Do you want a cough drop? Okay. I have cough drop. We have art and brownies in here, I've been told to tell you. So please, come in here, in other words. In other words, to coin a phrase, come in here. Okay, so, fuck them. Pardon my French, pardon my profanity. Fuck them if they can't take a drink. Oh, I'm sorry. You want to share? You have this. You can have it later. I brought 2 cough drops, so one for me and one for you. All right, come in here! Come in here! Oh, sorry. I wasn't talking to you particularly. Anyway, so that ends part 1 of the performance. Now we're going to do, actually, there is one little addendum to part 1. That's when Mr. Cooper Mars goes outside, and you can make one last attempt to tell them to come in here, but this is like their last chance, because I'm going to do a thing that, like, involves them potentially. I would like them to be in here. I hate having to go fishing.
They're coming.
Okay, well, they're dawdling. Yeah. Oh, we have a question from the audience. This is part 1.8 of the performance, where I answer a question from an audience member. Thank you. No, I'm not worried about you guys. I know how to get your attention. You're basically referring to the Laurie Anderson performance art way of speaking, which I am quite familiar with. I'm worried about them. No, it's fine. The brownie eaters. Could you just go round them up, and I'll give you like 2 minutes to get as many people in here as you can. Then we'll do the audience participation thing. Not this audience participation thing, another one. And in the meantime, I'll just say a few words about Ray Johnson. I was privileged to be friends with Ray Johnson for 13 years, and I didn't even know that, like, until I recently looked at my correspondence from him, and I realized, like, he loved the number 13, and I realized, oh my God, I knew him for 13 years. I moved to New York in 1982, and he died in 1995, and I was amazed. So in the room, just to your left here, I have 13 digital collages that I made that are just like bits and pieces of our correspondence, and there's 13 of them, and whatever, just look at them. But basically what I wanted to say with those collages, I'll tell you now, which is that he was very active in Long Island. I don't know if you guys know who Ray Johnson is or what he was about, but he was really into Long Island, and if you look at those pieces in there, you will see that a lot of them are like little events that he did all around the island. And I was privileged to be involved with him when he did one that was called the Roof Event, which I can't even remember where it was, but it was at the Brewster Street Garage. Right? Glencoe? Thank you. So it was in Glencoe, and on top of a garage, he walked back and forth with a ladder for a certain given period of time. It's all in there something from a newspaper. But he walked back and forth with a ladder, and when you asked him why he was doing that, he said it was because he was a ladder carrier. So he was like into letters, and he was into, therefore, ladders, because they sounded like letters. My name is Mark Block, and I used to do this, I still do this thing called the Postal Art Network, PAN. So he used to call me Mr. Walk when I'd be left on my answering machine. Hi, Mr. Walk. Hi, Mr. Walk. Hi, Mr. Walk. So I said, Ray, why are you calling me Mr. Walk? And he said, because it rhymes with block, and it's a kind of pan. So this is the way he worked. So in honor of Ray Johnson, I want to tell you about something that he did very early on in his career, and early on in the career of like a lot of the artists who became well known in the 1960s. But I love the period from like the late 50s to about 1962, because Ray Johnson eventually called his thing the New York Correspondence School, and a lot of people that he worked with were called, or that he knew and was friends with, were called Fluxus. But both of those things didn't really have a name in those days. They were just like these amorphous, strange things that people were doing. And one of the things that led to that happening was that this guy, George Machunas, who later created Fluxus, had a gallery on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and it was called the AG Gallery. The G was for George, and his partner was a Lithuanian guy whose name was, I can't remember, it's like a Lithuanian name, A-L something, I don't know. But he said that it was for A for the name with the A and G for his name, but other people think that it was AG because it stood for Avant-garde. But anyway, the AG Gallery had a series of shows, and then it had a series of performances, and the very last show, because he couldn't pay his rent, this guy, George Machunas, he got run out of Manhattan, and he even got his eyes beaten in by the mafia, in fact, and later on in his life, because he didn't pay his bills, and he owed some plumbers some work, and they beat him up, and he lost his eye. But even before that, when he had the AG Gallery, he couldn't pay the rent, and so he had a series of shows, but then the gallery closed abruptly and never opened again. And the very last show was by Yoko Ono. This was like in 1961, and it was before Yoko Ono was well known. And she did the show, and she had her painting To Be Stepped On and other famous works that later became famous. But there was a performance schedule, and it was by Ray Johnson. And what he did for his performance was he went to the top of the stairs of this place where the gallery was closed, and basically he took wooden dowel rods and invited lots of people to come, so when they showed up, he was at the top of the stairs with his wooden dowel rods, and when the people came, he started pouring the wooden dowel rods down the stairs, and nobody could climb up the stairs because the dowel rods were coming down. So that's my introduction to what I'm about to do. How's things going out there? No, I'm really happy with the turnout. This is good. You guys, I want to thank you. I want to thank you all. I just feel like, you know, I'm a ham. I need a lot of love, a lot of attention. Okay. Okay, I want to use you in some way. Let's see, what can we do with you? You watch sports? You like sports? You ever watch sports? You don't have to. It's not a trick question. No. You ever like watch it though on TV, like baseball? You watch the football game, you watch the baseball game. Yeah. You know how they like talk while the people are doing stuff? So that's called the play-by-play, right? They like tell you what's going on. Right? They say, oh, here's a lefty at bat, and the pitcher is a righty, and he just threw a curveball. That's the play-by-play, right? So you can do the play-by-play while I do my performance. This is the final section of my performance, which I'm about to do. And whether he wants to, he doesn't have to talk, but if he would like to talk, he can do the play-by-play or anything else he wants to do. This is play-by-play by Cooper Mars, and Mark Block will do the performance in honor of Ray Johnson and his dowel rods.
skin tone-ish color, an orange, a dark yellow, and a pink and green, and dark blue.
Let's give this young man a hand. That was really nice. I could not have designed that more perfectly. I'm so glad you spoke about the colors, because I had them all divided up by color. And I'm so glad you were thrown by that awful skin tone color. I was thinking of it as skin tone also, but it's just one kind of skin tone. As we know, there are many kinds of skin tone, so that's an illegal label. But anyway, so I have two books. You know that this is about a book about death, so I have two books. So one book this is a book of the collages that are in there, and a friend made me this morning while I was cutting up another book. The other book is this book. So my friend made this for me. It has all the... I will get that in just a moment. Oh, you don't have to do that. Thank you. I basically sent him all my collages. And this is mostly work by Ray Johnson, but some of it was my work and he sent it back to me. But anyway, he made me this book and he said that when I'm doing my performance, since I'm bad at selling things, here's what you should say, Mark. Tell everyone that the books are available to order by mail for $13 each. And he told me how much it would cost to make, and it's almost $13. So it's a little bit of profit, but not much. And he said that you should give everyone your address and tell them if they want to order one of these, they can do it. So I'm telling you because I'm bad at money stuff. So thank you for listening. So while I was cutting up this book, I'll be done in just a moment. Okay. While I was cutting up this book, for a reason I'll tell you in a second, he gave me this book, which was amazing because I don't like cutting up books. I don't like destroying books. And as you all probably know, what do you do with all your books? Like we already had a problem with books in like 1972. But now we really have a problem with books. We don't know what to do with them. So it comes up that you're going to want to like make stuff out of them or cut them up, and it makes you feel bad, you know? So anyway, I did take the risk of cutting up this book that's about like some kind of Tibetan Buddhist philosophy. And what I basically did, I'll keep it brief because I want to conclude now, but what I did was I cut it up into paragraphs. And they're amazing because it's about the impermanence of life. And it's about death. And it's about life. And it's about other things that a book about Buddhism might be about. But basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to distribute these balls, as they were recently described. And I'm not going to throw these out like things of paper towels. That's a no-no. That is politically incorrect. I'm going to distribute these, and I was thinking that they're like fortune cookies, because what I did was I made each paragraph inside each one of these balls. So what I want you to all meditate on before I pass them out to you is this. Where do you think you're going? No, you can do whatever you want. Maybe you can help me distribute these to the people. Would you like to do that? Would you guys like Cooper to help me? So, what I want everyone to meditate on, though, is that as I was cutting them, and as, of course, as an artist, I was thinking, this is a lame idea. No one is going to enjoy this idea, Mark. Because I thought of all the different things I could do with these balls, but I came up with this. But as I was cutting them up, cutting up the paragraphs, I started to think like, each one of these paragraphs is going to end up with one person in the audience. That's why I wanted everyone to come in, because I want this to be meaningful. I don't know what the meaning is, but when I worked with Ray Johnson, everything used to like work out in some amazing way somehow. So I kind of wanted to bring that here. And I just want everyone to really meditate on the idea that I'm going to pass these out, and the one that you get is the one that you were meant to get. And no matter what you believe, you're going to get that one. So you don't have meant for you, but it might have been meant for you. Think of that. And then, what do you do with it when you get it? I don't know. You can do whatever you want. But by the way, $13. But, no, seriously, you can write to me, you can send these to me, you can send it to your friends, but it's going to be like an extension of what we're doing here right now. So now I'm going to pass these out. Let's be quiet and meditate on which one was meant for you, and if you're going to get it. And we're going to pass these out, and I want to thank everyone for coming. And I want to thank Luann Palazzo, who did an amazing job of organizing.
The way that approached me is asked to be my play, a theme that may be familiar to some of you, which they will dance for. And then I think Phyllis will invite you also to waltz to a piece that Natalie Antonomo will play by Corelli. It's beautiful variations in three. Corelli was a Renaissance composer, so enjoy.
and dance with us.
See, come on, you first taker. Don't come on, what's the news? Don't jump on the floor.
Oh, come on.
I have a mail?
obscured, and I die for your love.
would like to share some Handel with you, a Fantasia. Everybody knows the Alleluia chorus, maybe? Well, this is the same composer, George Friedrich Handel.
spirituale sopra alla landa. And it's by a composer named Tarquino Merula, who died in 1665, Renaissance composer. And I thought this was fitting for a book about death, because it's the Virgin Mary. It's not a religious song, but the church, you have to remember, was so ensconced in people's lives in the Renaissance that the Virgin Mary is rocking her infant. And she looks at him and his little feet and his hands, and she can see what is coming. She can see the betrayal and the piercing and the cross. But she sees also that she will reunite with him in Paradiso, in paradise.
Spirito, te giusto svegli, questa gativa
should we just take a little break and come back? What do you feel? I'm just wondering about, we have you guys here. I mean, are you going to stick around? Why don't we feature Miss Natalie Kress playing some of one of the most amazing pieces ever written for the violin, from the G minor solo violin sonata. We'll be playing two movements, Adagio and Presto.
symbolizes eternity. It was said that the peacock flesh did not decay. So the peacock symbol would be put on the tombs. Another reason I thought it was appropriate for the Day of the Dead would be put on the tombs. If you see them in, especially if you were a person of stature and you had money, you would have a tomb. And so peacocks are representative of eternity, and like the phoenix, that they're transcendent. So that said, we'd like to share another piece with you by Claudio Monteverdi. This is Io voglio la vita uscire. I want to leave life. Why? Because this was always in the Renaissance. If you're in love and you've offended your love, you just want to die. Or if your love is unrequited, you want to die. And love in the Renaissance is often affiliated with death. again. I do have a book here. We do have a concert series that starts in October with concerts in Smithtown and Oyster Bay, and we would love to invite you. So if you put your name and email, snail mail, we will certainly be in touch with you. And I want to really thank Linda for inviting us. Linda Moran, thank you. And it's music, and we hope to have more events here, music events, music and art. Thank you.
finally.
What's been your impression?
Oh, I mean, I love this. I think that the entire work is amazing. Yeah, no, I think everything's amazing. I think this is honestly one of the most put together of all the galleries that I've seen. It was awesome. Museum. I didn't know they were different things. My bad. All right. The museum opening is one of the better that I've seen. It was really put together. It was amazing to have the harpists and the dancers and some of Ray Johnson's new work, just like really, really amazing stuff. Still seeing Fluxus, which is the art of change, coming in a time when I feel like everything around us feels very constricted and constricted in some ways. You catch my drift. And so it's nice to have somewhere that's still artistic and open and looking at all the different ways that death affects us and trying to find ways that we all heal together.